Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another Top Cut breakdown. Today we'll be talking about what happened at the Pro Play Tour Qualifier that took place at Most Excellent Gaming in Connecticut. This was their second time hosting a Pro Play Tour Qualifier. I was at both tournaments. Just to rehash, I mean, man, what an amazing shop, what an amazing staff they have there. Shout out to Peter for judging, shout out to Caesar for hosting. It was a really awesome event, really awesome store. But anyways, we're gonna get into the meta breakdown here. We got a lot of shifts coming from the beginning of set 12 to now. We will talk about it. Guys, if you are new here, definitely subscribe, hit that bell to never miss a video. If you guys want to help support the channel, there are many ways down in the description to do so. Particularly today, if you want to compete in events just like this, you want to see where my head is at competitively, check out the Patreon down below, check out the articles there. It'll help you get your game up. That being said, let's get started. So the Pro Play Tour Qualifier for Most Excellent Gaming, we have the overall deck breakdown. Okay, so let's check out some of the decks that were played in high numbers. So we have 3 Red Broly, 2 Reboot Gohan, 3 King Piccolo picking up a lot of steam here, 3 Sin Shenron, 3 Launch, 5 Dark Broly. Okay, 5 Dark Broly is going to be the most highly represented deck here, which is interesting because going back to just a week ago with that PPG webcam event, Dark Broly was nowhere to be found in the top cut. I think it's still a decent representation in the overall, scheme of the breakdown with, everyone that entered the tournament. But I think that was pretty much split with Launch. So Launch still seeing a good representation here with 3 people. And this is a 45 player event, mind you. Dark Broly taking 5 slots, so that's going to be the most here. 3 Green Gotenks, 2 Soul Strikers. So we do have a little bit of blue here. 1 Blue Baby, which did actually top. Then we have Reboot Soul Striker. Any other blue here on the list? So we have 1 Red Blue Cooler, so that's a little bit of blue there. That looks to be all the blue stuff we have here at this tournament. So blue we know is kind of lagging just a little bit, but the rest of it definitely pretty expected. Only 2 Mecha though, maybe a little bit low on representation for Mecha, but overall, I mean, those are the decks you expect to see multiple copies of. 3 Vegex too. Vegex is definitely not the, scary thing it used to be, but it's still there in the meta. It's still something you should expect to play against maybe 1 or 2 rounds in a tournament. Deck is still very good. But anyways, let's take a look at what topped this event. So the overall top 8 was 4 Dark Brolys. Think about this. 4 of those 5 Dark Broly players made it into top 8. Kind of crazy. I mean, I think the deck is crazy strong. My personal opinion, it's the best deck of the format. Dark Broly just doesn't really have bad matchups. Every matchup is like either even or favored. And this kind of gets into this thing that I've been thinking about lately, where I feel like there are certain decks in the format that just take the driver's seat. I think Dark Broly is one of those decks. I think Reboot Gohan's one of those decks. I think Red Broly is a deck like that, and Vegex is a deck like that. You have these decks that they sit in the driver's seat. They do what they want to do, and it's up to you as the player of a different deck, or maybe like a mirror match, to kind of react to that and see how you can combat it. So I think Dark Broly might be the strongest, quote unquote, driver's seat deck, because it just has the least bad matchups. Then we had the 1 Blue Yellow Gohan Icarus, or Skillless Gohan, whatever you want to call it. That was yours truly. My deck profile is here on the channel from yesterday. I did do this video a little bit out of order. Normally I always bring you guys the top cut breakdown first and then my deck profile, but when I got back from Connecticut last night, it was like 1 a.m. I just quickly uploaded the deck profile, went to sleep. Honestly, I'm still drained from that weekend and just the drive home and everything, so sorry if I'm a little bit low energy here. But anyways, the rest of top 8, 1 Blue Baby, 1 Reboot Gohan, and 1 Sin Shenron. Then the decks that transitioned into top 4, 2 of the 4 Dark Brolys made it in the top 4, so 2 of them ended up getting knocked out. We had the 1 Blue Yellow Gohan Skillless, and then we had the 1 Sin Shenron in top 4. What happened in the finals was that Danny playing Dark Broly, we went to the finals. We decided to split because we didn't really want to see the other person, being the good friends we are, we didn't want to see the other person lose out on money because it was a cash tournament. So we chose to split and also get started on our rides home because we both had about 2-hour trips ahead of us. But anyways, let's start breaking it down deck by deck. So Blue Yellow Gohan, I took this to the event. I have my deck profile once again on the channel. I posted it yesterday, so go check it out if you want to see it. I won't really go into too much detail on what the deck is or what the deck does, but I will kind of explain why I wanted to play this deck. So like I talked about before with the whole driver seat thing, this deck is definitely not one of those driver seat decks. This deck is one of those very reactive decks. It's an arrival based strategy. We're not really doing the whole unison sit on a counterplay type of strategy. We're kind of trading that in for battle interruption via arrivals. And I think that that's how multicolor is starting to make a comeback. Launch definitely pioneered the comeback of multicolor, which is a really awesome thing to see, to be honest. But I think, you know, because launch doesn't play unisons either, I think that if you're playing a multicolor / arrival strategy, you're really trading that, you know, kind of counterplay interruption that a lot of these mid-range control decks want, that they get out of their unison packages. You're trading that for, you know, more 10k combos, which can make your deck a little bit clunkier, but you're also getting this battle interruption that honestly in some cases is a lot better, like, you know, Zamasu super combo into Bergamo, or Nappa super combo into Gogeta 5-drop popping a battle card. These are very, very impactful plays. And honestly, besides that, it's just so cool that multicolor is coming back, because when you sit across a player that's playing a monocolor deck or a multicolor deck, it's almost like you're sitting down to play a different game. It's just the style of play of these decks is so different, so diverse. I know a lot of people don't really like the open format thing, and I'm not saying majority of players don't like it. I think a lot of players really do like it. I'm one of those players. I love when the format's really open, really diverse. But some players don't like it because they don't want to sit down across from an opponent that's playing something different every single round. That does make the tournament, it does make the meta more difficult to prepare for. But personally, I like sitting down across from a player and him pulling out a different leader every single round and just getting a different gameplay experience every single round. It's challenging, it's stimulating to the brain. I personally just like it. But anyways, this deck, right? Why I picked it, it's one of those crazy reactive decks that can do a lot of things against those driver's seat decks, right? Like I mentioned before, Zamasu into Bergamo. Violent Rush Bojack was the MVP of my deck all weekend. I can definitely say that. It's just an insane card. It's not without answers, right? There are plenty of cards that answer Violent Rush Bojack, but when he sticks on the board, he has 20k barrier. He's honestly a little bit tough to get rid of. Not everything just, you know, inherently answers barrier, but again, there are answers. But he is almost like a Zeno button on legs, and honestly, he was really crazy throughout the weekend. Like, I was a real big fan of Zeno button decks back in the day, both Hercule and blue yellow, good stuff back in like Shadowrun Gogeta format. And he just does that. He fills that role very, very well. It allows you to play your blue yellow cards like Goku Hit, like Zamasu Bergamo, like Raiders Warcry. You're just very, very interruptive. You do lack a bit of removal though, which does hurt the deck just a little bit. But this leader might seem like a random pick, but it generates so much draw for the deck. It's just honestly really, really helpful. I think this is the best leader you can play with the shell. But maybe the blue yellow shell will be adopted in other things. Who knows? It's up to you guys to try that out. I'm actually really, really interested to see what you guys do with, you know, blue yellow taking a step into the limelight. What are you guys going to do with it? Let me know in the comments below. I'm actually very, very curious to know that. Let's talk about Dark Broly. I don't have to tell you guys that this deck is absolutely insane. Beginning of set 11, didn't see too much play. As time has gone on though, it's just picked up popularity and a lot of hype. The deck is just so crazy. I think going forward, you know, set 13 is a decent while away, but I think we might have to look to where this deck might need to see a hit on the ban list. I mean, we did have, again, one outlier weekend where this deck wasn't really in the top cut, but ever since like Draft Box 6 meta, this deck has been topping and getting large numbers of representation and top cut conversions. The deck is insane. Again, it just kind of has the same issue as Vegex, but now that Vegex is nerfed to the state it is, this is the better black deck playing free battle cards, because the battle cards in this deck, they're 30k, they offer removal, they offer hand rip, they burn your opponent's life, they let you go into Heartfelt Plea. I think we kind of need to start looking at what kind of minor tweak or hit could Dark Broly see on a set 13 ban list to bring it more in line. And again, who knows, maybe there'll be a strategy in set 13 that just hard counters the deck. Maybe it won't need that type of nerf. But if there were to be a nerf on Dark Broly, personally, I think it would be something along the lines of not allowing the deck to play Heartfelt Plea. Now, I'm not saying ban Heartfelt Plea. Maybe an errata Heartfelt Plea where you can only play it if your leader's red or yellow. That could be a thing. I know a lot of players don't like erratas, but I really don't see where you hit Dark Broly to kind of reel in the power level, right? Because what are you gonna do? Maybe ban one of the Dark Brolys? That doesn't really seem like a logical way to go about it, because then you're really kind of, you know, kicking the deck down. I really just don't see how you can hit it in a minor way besides taking away the Heartfelt Plea interaction, because obviously they made this new Dark Broly, they made him red, so you can't really ban him just because he's red, because he is meant to be played with the archetype. At least I don't think. I don't know. Again, another question. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this. Dark Broly is insane. I think it's the best deck in the format, but I guess time will tell as we finish out through this format and move into Evolution Booster. Next up, we have Reboot Gohan. Again, one of those driver's seat decks. I actually played against this in top 8, and it was the first time I'd played against Reboot Gohan in a tournament setting since set 9. So quite a long time ago, especially, you know, pre-COVID, and I guess about a year ago at this point. man, was it scary. I was in danger of dying turn 1 going second, turn 2 going first, and it was very, very scary. I really wish they didn't do the whole, you know, ban for best of 1 thing. I really wish they just banned Feet Kamehameha, because that card just makes it so much more unfair. Like, being at 7 life, you know, they combo to a 40k triple strike critical because of Feet. That just feels like a very, very bad gameplay experience. Luckily, I was able to clutch it out, so I really shouldn't be complaining too much. But I think it just really isn't a super healthy thing for the game. The deck's still really, really good. If you're playing best of 3, you want to play hyper aggro, this is one of the decks to go with. But if you feel like that's more popular, Release from Evil is probably going to be a sideboard staple, so that could be something you want to watch out for there. Sin Shenron next up. Okay, so there's a lot of different variants of Sin going around. You know, you hear things about aggro Sin, you hear things about control Sin. I really just think you got to play Sin with the best 50 cards, and a lot of the new cards are very, very good. So I think you should always play the 9-drop engine. I think the 9-drop engine is just the main bread and butter of the deck. Gives you a lot of interruption, gives you a lot of value if it's removed from the board. But now with this new stuff from set 12, you can get a sneaky turn 2, turn 3 Selzino off. If your opponent taps out at 4 life and you know they don't have a lot of combo power, you can really heavily take advantage of an opponent like that. So I think for the most part, Sin is probably just more mid-range at this point. Again, you have that really big boss monster. You have the ability to drop a sneaky Selzino to win the game at almost any point. So I think that really brings Sin from control, but not really to aggro. I'd really say Sin is much more of a mid-range spot right now. Seems like a really, really good pick. Again, yellow is a great color right now. So I think if you want to play more of a mid-range type of deck, Sin could be the thing for you, especially if you want to play monocolor. And then next up, guys, we have Blue Baby. This was the final deck of the top 8. It's a really, really strong pick. It seems like Blue's redemption pick. It seems like the one pick you can play if you really want to play Blue. I think this is the 3rd consistent event where Blue has topped, or Blue Baby specifically has topped. So that kind of speaks to me and says Blue Baby is a really good deck this format for Blue. Soul Striker, SS3 Reboot, SS4 Vegeta, these types of other blue decks, they really do seem to be struggling. This particular version was playing Baby Unknown Parasite. We know last week we saw the version that played the Gogeta Pursuit of Power unison. But still, I think either way is a pretty good route to go. Baby offers draw power. Gogeta offers like some cheese, if you will. Like, you know, you can get that Gotenks into play, and if your opponent's not expecting it, they can dump their entire hand and you just take no damage. So I think both are good ways to go depending on how you want to play the deck, how you feel comfortable. But I think if you want to play Blue, this might be the one you want to look at. But besides that, maybe you can look at the Blue Baby list, and maybe you can, you know, take elements of that and say, hey, where can I go with other blue decks to do a similar thing that Blue Baby is doing and see success, right? But anyways, guys, that's going to wrap up today's video. I do hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Again, drop a comment down below. I'll see you next time.